Hello again, everyone. High Vibe Conversations. I'm Ambassador Terry, along with the illustrious.
Linda Vetras Nichols.
We're the Nichols crew. And we have a delightful conversation with Shel Shapiro, Dorit Carlson, Jenny Langren. Purpose versus zone of genius. Take it away, Linda. I can't wait to hear about this.
Alrighty then. Well, you hear a lot, especially in the coaching world, even when people first start coaching, being asked like, what's your purpose? Or people worried about like, I don't know my purpose and I don't know who I am. And my attitude is that you are your purpose. And that sure takes the pressure off of everything. And I know Jenny, before we got going, was mentioning like, well, Linda, you always say you are your purpose. And I'm not sure, the subject, I'm not sure about this subject. And so now what's coming up for you, Jenny?
Very funny. So purpose. Okay, let's assess. Let's go through this. So purpose, why am I doing this? What is the reason for me to do this? And that brings me to my core values. It brings me so much fulfillment in life to understand myself at the core of my being.
Right.
To know what I value, which is very personal. It's not about what it should look like or what other people are thinking. It's about what flows from me. So when that is in my focus and works as a compass in my life, and when I live in alignment with my core values, that is purpose to me. That's
I love how you say flows from me.
Yeah. And when I live in my values, I also create them. That's the value that I create for the people around me. And what I have found in my life that it brings me to work and live and breathe within my zone of genius. It means that I'm doing what I'm created for. Like I'm doing what's authentic to me, what's natural to me. And that's so enjoyable and it's very peaceful that I'm not trying to adapt or adjust or fix things. It's just, it just flows.
That is juicy. What are your core values, Jenny?
Oh, it's authenticity.
Okay.
Fairness, compassion, and let's stop there.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Brene Brown talks about like 3 because like you can't even remember 5, right? And they're yours. So yeah.
And they are, we do get, it is, looking back, I think that they're pretty consistent, but 10 years from now, I would probably have given you a different answer. It's like there's always another layer, and every value does hold other values.
Mm-hmm.
So asking me 5 years from now, who knows? Of course, it's going to be around that same, those same values, but they're very much related. And it's really a discovery.
It is. And I thought that, mine are fun, freedom, love. And so when we were doing some high-end coaching and it was like kind of the focus was money and packaging and all this stuff. And it was, well, money gives you freedom. So like maybe I'll just switch freedom to being my first core value, right? And that so didn't work. So if it's not fun, I just don't want to do it. It just is who I am and it's how it is. So yeah. So fun's my number one.
I love you say that you filter through that. So can you share a bit what that means to you?
Thank you. I would love to do that. Yeah. So just like picking a word for the year, we've all done that, right? So mine's synergy. What's yours, Terry? Trust yourself.
Trust.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Jenny? What's yours?
My what?
Your word for the year? Was it Money?
My word for the year is money. Yes.
Yep. And how about you, Shell?
Autonomy.
Autonomy, yeah. How did
I
I
love
forget
the
that?
freedom of choice. Yeah.
Right. And Dorit, do you remember what your word for the year was?
Mine was togetherness.
Oh, that's right. Get together with family and everything with all the COVID stuff keeping you apart. Yeah. And so using that word to filter. So like Jenny had an experience last year that if her filter word had been money, she just would have said no. And it was actually a negative experience that wouldn't even probably have happened. You know, it's no guarantee, right? It's just, it keeps you in complete alignment when you have something you're filtering with, like a word for the year. And so when it comes to values, your number one core value makes a very valuable filter for your life. And so, and like I said, mine's fun. So it's like, if any opportunity comes my way, or if anybody even like wants to work with me, it's like, well, am I going to have fun working with that person? You know, is this going to be a fun event to do? Right. So that's how it goes on for me. And you guys all know I don't have goals. Been there, done that. They were very shameful, guilt creators for me. I have a pleasure list, and I have published 21 books in what, like, I don't know, 6 years. Yeah, I did my first in 1998, so 20 books in 6 years. Because I just have a pleasure list, and I do what I want when I want, and I just stay in flow. And it's crazy town how stuff gets done. And when I work with you guys, I keep you in your pleasure zone, if you will, and your zone of genius. Stuff just goes boom, 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 and it gets done. And there's not even any room for the ego to get in there and go and put all the brakes on and give you all the deflection and stuff like that. So does that make sense? All right. Okay. So who wants to go next? Dora, you ready? Or is the shells wiggling over there? I don't know. Somebody beat somebody and unmute.
We both handed it over at the same time. I love that. When it comes to like purpose versus zone of genius, I don't think it's one or the other. And I talked about this. I talk about this like whenever we have like something positioned against another thing, right?
Right.
You can be both things. You can have your purpose. You can have your zone of genius. I actually think I have several zone of geniuses. I don't think I have like just one thing that like, this is how I operate. And so when I am connected with my purpose, which it's my mission. It's like it's part of rooted in my core value of autonomy and the freedom of choice. It's to help prevent people from burnout, from feeling and the reason for that is because I'm the cheerleader that I wished I had. I'm the lifeguard that wants to protect other people from any of those things that I've already felt. And so it's a preventative thing for me to help people be better versions of themselves and to find their purpose or find what they're aligned to do and or to find what their zone of genius. It doesn't have to be both at the same time either. Like you might know what your purpose is, but not know what your zone of genius is and vice versa. But because I am tapped into my purpose, I am better suited to perform when I'm in my zone of genius. And for me, the zone of genius is asking the questions to help people uncover what it is that's at the root of what they want to be doing more of. Like what's keeping them stuck. Like similar to the way that you, Linda, ask me questions when I'm feeling stuck. I ask a lot of questions and I do it in a different way that like is how I just process things.
Assess people.
yeah,
What
and-
assess their needs. Absolutely.
And if you've never thought about something in that way, you don't know that it's a thing. You don't even know that that's an option until you've been presented with that thing. So one of my zone of geniuses is helping people figure out what their thing is by way of asking questions.
Nice.
Well, I've always done this. I've always done that. I've always showed up a certain way. Do you like doing that? Do you like the way that you're showing up? Do you like getting asked to do those tasks? Do you want to do more of those things? And if the answer is no to any of those, then that's not your zone of genius, whether you're good at it or not. So
Right.
I use my purpose to help people figure out how to come back from burnout or to mitigate it. And I use my zone of genius to help people do more of the things that they want to do. So they're both working in tandem. And it's definitely, it's a process to like figure out both. So choose one or the other and then go from there. The other one's going to fall into place, but for me, it's not one or the other. It's both. It's just finding the right time for which one.
Right. Yeah. That will
Say that I think curiosity might be one of your core values, Shell.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe that's why I like you so much.
Yeah, right. That goes in your POV.
Is that what killed Bella? Is that curiosity killed the cat, right?
That's what they say.
Let's make that literal. But no, but yes, I'm always interested in wanting to know more. I want to know why. I want to know how. What got you here?
Right.
What had to happen in order for you to be where you are right now? And if it's not where you want to be, like, how do we not undo that because you can't go back, but how do we change that for the better?
Right. Yeah. And Shelley, you've been that way all your life. After reading your book, that's quite obvious. And for me, I've always made sense of things for myself and others. So yeah, it's interesting. And like the to really know you're in your zone of genius what is that one thing that you do that you can do in your sleep, you can do all day and not even feel tired? Like maybe if you pushed really hard, that day, like you did more of it than normal, your body might feel a little tired, but you're ready. It's game on, and it's not the type of thing that causes like burnout. So if you could only pick one of the zone of geniuses that you're aware of, Shell,
Oh, it's so hard.
yeah. Just let it come up though.
If I could only pick one,
Mm-hmm.
I am super, super energized when I'm already thinking about the backlash to saying this because yeah, I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. But right, actually, I'm going to remove that thinking. I feel super energized when I have powerful conversations with people, and so it's not necessarily about what we're talking about. It's that connection. And as an introvert, it's so powerful for me to say that, because when the energy is not there, when we're disconnected, that's draining for me. But when we make that connection, you talked about it, that soul to soul connection, then my body could be completely like ready for a nap and my mind is still going, and that's going to keep fueling me. It's not running on empty because I am here for the conversation and I want to keep having more and more of it. And you could probably tell that from my live on Monday with Stina. The conversation was just so juicy that I just let it keep going. I was like, there is no way I am stopping this conversation now, because we are here for it. We are connected, and people are enjoying it and interacting and wanting more. And there was no stopping that energy. And that felt amazing. So that's for me when I'm in my most powerful zone of genius.
Yeah, and it'd be fun to like if you can see like all the algorithms, like how many people like stayed on through the whole thing or whatever. Because I believe that when two people are locked in like that and soul to soul, and especially discussing stuff from their zone of genius, and like you, Shell, the way you are in your zone of genius, you were doing that with Stina, pulling it out of her too. That people like feel that energy, feel that click between the two of you, and are clicked in to keep watching because like, hey, I want some of what they're having, right? And so it's
Yeah.
cool.
And the best, and I know that I'm tapped in, and I know I've done a good job, because the best, most powerful conversations, somebody usually says to me something along the lines of, wow, I feel so good about this. I'm ready to knock out the rest of my day. Like you just like changed the whole course of the day for me. And I've gotten so many variations of that. And I'm like, thank you. It was good for me too. Like, I'm glad that you felt it as well. And so that really lets me know that I am on the right path, because other people can feel that energy coming through.
Yeah, love it. Okay, Dorit, you've got lots to play with there. What comes up for you when you think about versus? Oh, don't you guys? Let's all mute so don't come through. Okay, that's kind of the trick. Everybody needs to that.
Well, I agree with Shell that I think we all have several zone of genius, and they change throughout our lives. The more we kind of learn, the more we can maneuver between them. And I also think that for me anyway, my zone of genius is my purpose. Because when I am in my zone of genius, I'm able to help people, and I'm able to give so much more. My energy is 100%, and I'm there, So for me, I think that I have several things. Like I have my coaching and hypnotherapy, and I also have the dog stuff, and I love working with kids too. And when I have that topic and I'm in my zone of genius, my purpose is to share that with people, to inflame them, to kind of let them see how wonderful it can be. So yeah, definitely more than one. Absolutely. You're muted, Linda.
Yes, you're definitely a multi-potential, like my tech man sleeping over here. Oh, girl. And so, Dora, what are your feelings? What comes up for you when you hear the word? Oops, now, can you mute for just a second, Dora? When you hear like the word purpose, do you feel like we have a purpose, or we're all running around seeking a purpose, or do you feel like we are our purpose?
I didn't give it much thought until I had my burnout. Before that, like 11 years ago, up until that point, I was just working. We had 5 kids, full job, 3 big dogs. There wasn't room to think. So when I had my burnout and I ended up just laying there, I was thinking and grieving my loss of ability to work. That part of my life was gone. So that was really sad. I was a salesperson the first part of my life. So working in sales was wonderful. The connection with people, being able to help, knowing a lot of stuff about a lot of different things, and all of that was kind of what I love to do. And not being able to do that, being home, I felt I hadn't any purpose. There wasn't any purpose to my life. And it was like that for 7 years while I was at home, just being ill, needed help with a lot of stuff because of the illnesses. And it actually brought me to depression, and I couldn't see any purpose with my life. There wasn't any purpose with me. Why am I here? I'm not helping anyone. I'm not doing any good. Everyone has to help me. I'm in my 40s, and I can't. Is this my life? What is my purpose? So having a purpose is definitely something that we people need. So I can understand that people seek their purpose, that they I actually Googled purpose, and I Googled Zone of Genius just to get the right translation into Norwegian, so I would be sure I understood the topic right before we got on here. And there was so much coming up, so much about find your zone of genius, find your purpose. And I understand why, because having been without a purpose, I can understand the lack of it. So when I found the coaching, and I started to kind of bounce back from the illnesses, and I was able to start working again with the dogs and clients and stuff, I felt I had a purpose, you know. So having a purpose is a human desire. I think we need a purpose.
I just feel the creativity. I feel the creativity of you being connected to yourself. And what I've learned from working with people who are going through burnout, and I was also there, is that creativity that is not expressed will be experienced as anxiety. Like
Wow.
your purpose and your zone of genius, it's who you are. And you reconnected, and it's beautiful what you are creating through that. And I just had to share that.
Yeah. So James Kerr said, don't you think that thinking goes out the door when you're in your zone of genius? And boy, I sure do. Because when you're in your zone of genius, you're really connected to your soul. And you don't even remember what you just said when you're speaking from your soul. You guys all know that one. So, yeah.
Hey, man, I get that. James Kerr, great point. Because I know that when I get into my zone, time is not important. I mean, there's that. I'm like in my own universe, and everything is spinning, and it's not out of control. It's in sync with what I'm envisioning and being present with. That's powerful. Thanks, Jim Kerr.
Yeah. Good. All right. Anything else to wrap it up? A great point Dora made about being in our purpose. It's like a human need, and being in our zone of genius is very much of a human need as well. Maybe we don't feel it as much or feel like we need it. For health reasons, it's super, super important, because we talked about that energy piece of it. And it's like Shell mentioned, it's not the draining energy piece. So thanks, everybody. What a great conversation. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, James Kerr, for chiming in. That was so great.
Yes, absolutely. And Ambassador Rebecca, thank you very much, too, for joining in. What a nice honor. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. And for those of you who are listening to this, put your comments in the chat below. We're all going to be following this for a while, and we'd love to chat with you. Thank you again for being with us today.